Hi guys, it's me, your resident Bree, and I am back with another video. Black lives still matter, and those links are still in my description below. We are back like we never left, okay? I know I've been doing some hair videos and I took a little 1 week break from YouTube, but Worth the Watch is back. Yes, today we are going to be reviewing a movie from Netflix. As of watching the video, the day I watched it, it was the #1 movie, I guess, trending on Netflix. We will be reviewing Fatal Affair. It stars Nia Long, Omar Epps, and with a surprise cute little cameo, Estelle. So if you're interested in seeing what my lowlights and highlights were for this movie, keep on watching. Okay, so Fatal Affair dropped July 16, 2020 on Netflix. Like I said, it stars Nia Long and Omar Epps, and Estelle is also in it. Little cameo, she plays Nia Long's character's assistant in her law firm. The runtime for this movie is 1 hour 29 minutes, and it's categorized as a psychological thriller. Now there will be a couple of little spoilers in here, so just be prepared for that. But the plot of this story. This movie is about a woman named Ellie. She's married, she has a daughter off at college, and she works for a law firm. And one day as she walks in, she finds out that her law firm hired a man named David that she knew from her past in college. It's hinted that they might have had a little fling or something like that, but they tried to keep it professional as they sat down and had their first little board meeting. After that, by coincidence, because they were actually supposed to be there with another person, David and Ellie end up being alone at a bar and have a little too much to drink, okay? And Ellie almost cheats on her husband with David. She tells David, no, I can't do it. That is when we learn that David is cray-cray, and he's simply not getting the hint. He even tells his therapist that he actually met a new woman and that she had a complicated relationship with her husband, none of which was true. Ellie told him to leave her alone, and he was like, nah, you're mine. Literally after that, chaos ensues. Now, I think I'm remembering the movie Obsessed right, but it was pretty much like the male version of Obsessed. The only difference was that David and Ellie had a little bit of history, but honestly it wasn't even enough reason for him to do all the things that he was doing. And it does end with a happy ending, but it's a really simple plot. You could probably guess what's gonna happen before you watch the movie. It definitely isn't a new story. We've seen films like this time and time on the screen. So my highlights and lowlights to this movie, let's just get straight into it. My first highlight, I did not think I would enjoy seeing Omar Epps play a crazy person, but I think that is what his duty in life is to do. Play crazy. He was so good. He was so good. Facial expressions were there, and there was always something a little off about him when you first meet him in the movie. He kind of is like very, you know how you just get vibes from people? I was getting vibes from him, and he was very charismatic, and he just switched and he went in and out that charismatic phase towards people to get even closer to Ellie. Whatever he could do to get close to Ellie, he did that, okay? I really enjoyed seeing him in a movie. I really enjoyed seeing him on the screen. It seems like a role he had a whole lot of fun with. I had a whole lot of fun watching him. My second highlight, Nia Long, her acting and her wig. We love Nia Long over here, okay? Everyone knows Nia Long is a great actress, and I like seeing her in this. I would have to say, compared to some other actors in this movie, she was definitely top tier acting, which I guess you could assume nothing less. I enjoyed seeing her in this type of movie. I enjoyed seeing her kind of act a little crazy with him, because at a certain point she started stalking him back. I don't know, it was just a fun little ride watching Nia. I feel like I haven't really seen her recently in anything that I've been watching, so you know, sis was on it. She was getting that check. She was doing what she had to do. Also, I said her wig was a plus. Listen, I don't know what has been happening in Hollywood lately when it comes to black women in wigs, but man, it is so refreshing to see a wig that actually looks correct, looks natural. Shout out to the hairstylist for this film, because Nia looked great. Makeup was on point, and her wig, like if you wasn't really staring at it, it actually looked like it could be her hair. I'm just very happy to see a blended wig on a black woman, because I don't know what has been happening nowadays, but we really needed that for the culture. My third low light is that this movie is a simple plot, but it does what it's supposed to do. This movie tells you we're gonna give you crazy, and it delivers on that crazy. I appreciate when, if a movie is gonna be a simple plot that's been written over and over and over again, at least deliver on it, and this movie did that. One of my favorite scenes from this movie, which this is a spoiler, I don't know why I'm saying that again, but just in case. I could only assume that the explanation behind this scene got cut out for time, but it was the scene where Omar Epps' character David was on the golf course with Marcus, who was Ellie's husband. Marcus, in the beginning of the movie, you can see he had kind of like a scar tissue on his left shoulder that went like around his shoulder. Is this my left hand? This is my left hand. Left shoulder. We're told that Marcus had an injury, right? Now, when you're watching the movie, unless you are really paying attention to this scene, that seems like an irrelevant fact. It seems very irrelevant. Doesn't really seem like it's a point. They just really emphasized it a whole lot in the beginning, and then you didn't really hear about it anymore. When he and David were on the golf course, Marcus says that when he was riding his bike down a trail, he said he did it every single day, and all of a sudden a car came and hit him. If you pay attention to the interaction between Marcus and David, it was David who hit him. When he asked Marcus, well, what happened? He's not really asking him what happened, like how did you get hurt? My theory is David probably tried to kill Marcus and he didn't die. That's why he found out where Ellie worked. That's why he applied, and that's how he ended up working at the law firm with her in the beginning. Literally right after Marcus said that, David started to walk right behind him real slow, getting ready to hit him, okay? Hit him with that club, and then he doesn't. I think that's because he was probably pissed the first time he tried to kill him, it didn't work. I liked how subtle that scene was. I think if you wasn't paying attention, you probably wouldn't even recognize that. But if you go and watch that scene, David is the one who hit him. Why else would he get hit by a truck? Why would that even be a relevant story to this story if David wasn't involved? Okay, on to my low lights. My first low light. The whole first act. Didn't even care about it. I know that you have to do the first act to set it up, but the fact that this is literally not a new movie, not a new concept, really could have went without the first act. They threw a little twist in there about David and his ex, but honestly, that whole beginning scene could really care less. It just wasn't interesting to me. Of course, like when things start to heat up between David and Ellie, you're like, oh, like she rejected him, it's about to start the crazy train. But other than that, really didn't care. Did not care at all about the first act. I know it had to be there. A second low light, other than the two main characters and Ellie's best friend, Courtney, other than those three and maybe the detective at the end, the acting was just... What's so sad about it is like this movie is not a big movie. There's not a huge cast on this movie. So the fact that the cast that were not a part of those 3 or 4 that I named was so... It just wasn't great. There's really no way to put it, you know. I feel like I want to articulate how I feel, but it's really like a feeling that you have instead. Like you're just like, this is cringy. Like the daughter, cringy. And she must have had a different hairstylist from Nia Long, cause like why was the baby hairs the way that they were? It just was so bad. Then you had the daughter's boyfriend. I don't even remember who he was, and like it was just like why are you relevant to the story? He had no relevance. He had none. The only relevance he had was the reason why the daughter was leaving the night that Courtney and David came over for this really awkward dinner date with Ellie and Marcus. That's the only relevance. Like he was such an irrelevant character. We expected good acting from the people who we expected it from. I don't know if it's how it was written. I just wasn't a fan. Not saying those people cannot act. I don't know, like I said, how it was written, but those characters were just like, you are annoying me, and there's nothing I hate more in movies is when something serious, high stakes is happening and someone is crying in a corner. The daughter wasn't literally crying in the corner, but when she got in the car and the dad was like, drive, and she was like, like I can't, girl, drive the vehicle. But I digress. I was not a fan. Was not a fan of her character, of the other characters outside of the 4 people. Like I said, there weren't a whole lot, but I just was not a fan of this. Another low light, I have to look at the budget for this movie. I don't know why, for the things that David was doing, why there was not more realistic like body wounds. An example of what I mean is like when David at the end ends up going to the house, Ellie runs into the house and finds the daughter's boyfriend sitting outside. All you see is a trail of blood down his face. I'm like, what that mean though? Like what? I just wanted more. Like he was not the only character who had that little blood trail situation. Estelle's character had that as well. The police officer who was killed kind of had that. Like, you could tell what happened to him. But yeah, this must have been like a small indie movie. Like I said, I'll have to look at the budget for it, but special effects makeup was not in it. It was not in the budget. I feel like I have more lowlights that I can't really think of specifically right now. But yeah, there were just a lot of things I was just like, why? All I can say is I really hope that the actors had fun making this movie. It looked like it was a very fun movie to make and to go through and to shoot and to film. To watch, a little bit of a different story. Like I said, it delivered on the crazy, don't get me wrong, but I would not have very high expectations of this movie. And that brings me to my rating. I'm giving this movie a 4 out of 10. It hurts me to do this. I don't want to do this to Nia. I want us to win all the time and be in great, excellent movies, but this was just not it. I don't know what I expected of this movie. I actually didn't even read the description of the movie on Netflix. I was like, oh, this is a trending movie. I've seen a lot of interviews for it with Nia Long, Omar Epps, so I'm just gonna go ahead and watch it and go in without any preconceived notions. I figured the name Fatal Affair kind of brings a little bit of a idea to your head, but man, I just wanted this movie to be a lot better than it was. I really want to give it a 5 out of 10, but there was just nothing spectacular about this movie. It's a good road trip movie. I got an hour and a half to kill. Let me go ahead and watch this movie. Like, it's just like that. Yeah, I can't even sugarcoat how I feel about this movie. Was it worth the watch? I am never going to tell someone to not watch a movie. All I'm gonna say is do not expect a spectacular viewing experience. Do not watch this and think you're going into an Oscar-nominated movie. If you're gonna go in and watch it to have fun. That's all I'm gonna say. Was it worth the watch? Sure. Do I recommend you watch it? Sure. But like I always say, the only person that can deem if something is worth the watch is you. So I recommend that even though I will not be watching Fatal Affair again, you go watch it. And just like every other thing I review here, I want to open up the conversation for us to talk about it and discuss our feelings. But yeah, that's it today, guys. This was a really short movie. It was a really quick watch. I knew how I felt about it pretty quickly. 4 out of 10, and watch it if you want to. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye, loves.